Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Not sure wherever you are in the world watching this, but welcome. Here we are on the first day of the 12 traits of the Purposeful Warrior, our 12 days of Christmas. And I'm so excited to be here with you. And today we are going to be talking about the day one trait, which is purposeful. No surprise there, hey? So if you're watching live, please say hello. Put the comment in, let me know where you're coming from. And if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. Don't forget in the link or the copy above there, just download your worksheet and then you can post it up in the comments later on. So today's trait is purposeful. And for me, this means being intentional and full of my own design, self-directed purpose, a functional selfishness, if you like. So a car accident in 2010 literally stopped me in my tracks. The high-powered treadmill of a workaholic life that was my daily grind, as well as taking care of everyone else's needs before my own. I was literally catapulted into a whole new world of pain, not just the earn, spend, borrow treadmill that I talk about that I was chained to, yet simultaneously, it gifted me time for reflection, a time which, albeit petrified me, was the greatest gift I could ever received. It was like my security blanket was just ripped out from under me, no longer knowing, what I was here for. What was my purpose? There is no legacy. Why was I really working so hard and to what end? Making all of these millions of dollars for everyone else, yet all of my dreams, none of them were being realized. Yep, I was pimping myself out for someone else's dreams at the expense of my own. So this began the journey to me and awakening my own purposeful warrior. So I know you can see, let me see if I can show you. I've got the Christmas Crew t-shirt on today, my little Santa hat. So we're making this festive as well. But it was really the beginning, like I said, back in 2010 there, of the journey to me, my own awakening of my own purposeful warrior. And my self-directed purpose, becoming purposeful. And that's when I realized that I didn't fit into the society's normal, the societal norm. And in fact, not that I want to. That beautiful reflection time, the purpose that I was socially engineered for, if you like, was the wife, the mother, the grandmother, and all of these things, whilst they're beautiful aspects, and I am wife, and I'm a mother and grandmother to a lot of other people's children, it hadn't worked out personally for me for many reasons. And so I set out on a journey of self-directed purpose to awaken my internal self-directed warrior, because she was laying in deep slumber, just waiting for me. And she's there for you too. I hope you realize that. So after the car accident, I knew deep down that I couldn't sustain the life which was built on such hollow foundations, the perfectionism, the self-sacrificing, the self-sabotage, people-pleasing, everyone else's primary caregiver. And I realized I was exhausted. So when I started to do this sort of deep self-reflection work, I realized that I was helping everyone else at the expense of myself. And I became aware in a relatively short space of time that I wasn't broken. What I've been searching for previously didn't exist. There's nothing I needed to fix me. I didn't need fixing, and neither do you. I simply needed to wake up from my denial, my avoidance, and surrender, to take responsibility for me, to look inward and work on me from the inside out, to stop wishing and waiting and hoping for some external person or thing that would make me complete. And I felt that sharing this in my own book, some of the significant events in my life, the physical and emotional abuse, the sexual trauma, helped me heal and start to understand and feel without the shame. Without the shame, that's the big thing for me. The beautiful 50 shades of grey, hashtag 50 shades of grey. There are the emotions that were buried so deep inside and covered with so many addictions. But my deepest desire for that book was that one person read one sentence, one paragraph, and a healing moment for them occurred as well. And I've had so many beautiful reviews on my book and comments and feedback that I'm truly grateful for all of that. Because I know wholeheartedly that vulnerability is sexy, confidence is sexy. And if you want to realize this, then that is the biggest gift for you this Christmas, is to realize that vulnerability and confidence are both so sexy, it's unreal. And there's another way to live life, and that's to move out of this socially engineered purpose into a self-directed purpose, to take that journey for yourself. I have several business ventures and lines of passive income, as without it, it would simply mean I'd have to revert back to a life of servitude, of lack of choice, of lack of freedom. And especially in the world that we're in, currently, where we could see what's happening on a mass global level, it is important to me, as I want to live a life of time and money freedom. As the purposeful warrior, I want freedom of choice. I want sovereignty. I want time and money freedom. And by following this pathway, if you like, through self-directed purpose, being purposeful in my actions with intent, I live the life I want to live and guide others to create, the same thing for themselves. That's what happens. I help others achieve this through the Awaken the Warrior Within series of programs and events. And it's my belief that awakening purpose, business, wealth, and relationships are the true 4 cornerstones of sovereignty and true sustainable financial independence. And it's the birthright of each and every one of us. We were born with the ability to provide for ourselves, and just through society's convention and programming, we lost that. And I was asked back in 2020, I think it was, my beautiful friend Justin Paul, in a podcast on his show about my experience as an independent woman and how I've achieved success whilst continuing to nurture and maintain my own sovereignty. And again, as I think about it, I chuckle to myself, because I realize, in fact, that I've always been single, even in a relationship. I was literally a lone warrior, struggling, to, well, in silence, if you like, under the suffocation of others, carrying their burdens, while, true emotions and struggles got very deeper and deeper. Years of self-neglect, primary with food, hiding away, denying, avoiding, facing up to my true feelings, being honest with myself and others. It's now a lifelong journey for me to chip off the Michelin tires that I've protected myself with for so long. And I'm all good with that journey. I realize it's not going to happen overnight. It took me years to, put on all of this weight, and I see as my protection, my protective shell. So it's going to take a while to take it off, and that's okay. I've surrendered to that journey. I'm taking responsibility, and it's been a huge turning point in my life. Good morning, Jai. Thanks for following. So I learned to honor what I felt in the moment, and yes, using emotional appropriateness, if you like, meaning that if I was running an event or with a client and I felt a trigger, my own strategy was to inwardly acknowledge what I was feeling, or the sensations that were in my body, and wrap it up gently, and tie in a little bow, and in a beautiful turquoise box, so it's Tiffany & Co boxes, and promise to unwrap it later, which I did. And I'm often reminded when working with clients, many of whom are single or struggling in their personal and professional relationships to find their purpose, that the important concept is, the idea is that if you're going to follow this socially conditioned narrative, and what I mean by that is, boy becomes man, man becomes breadwinner and husband, then father, then grandfather. And a girl becomes woman, woman becomes wife and mother and grandmother. If you're going to follow that socially conditioned narrative, then you'll be following a socially imposed purpose. And therefore, it becomes a time when you realize that this may not be your sole purpose in life. And so begins the journey of self-directed purpose. and awaken your own self-directed purpose and put aside or discard the socially conditioned and engineered purpose, the stereotype of society, if you like, and integrate these aspects into your life. Yes, there are many of us out here, many of you that are mothers, wives, fathers, husbands, breadwinners. That's all part of who we are as a human. It doesn't have to be our sole purpose, however, which is really what society wants us to conform into. Because when we do that, when we build these aspects into a stable foundation, where time and money freedom gets a chance to flourish, you'll be able to walk along the path, to building your own sustainable foundations through strong connection to yourself, and build something that can live on for generations to come. This generational wealth that I talk about. It's the wealth, not in terms of just dollars and cents. Yes, that's important. We want to have true time and money freedom, but it's the wealth of connection, of love, of abundance, all of these things that come through the channel, if you like, of opening yourself up to seeing things a different way. I'd love to share that last night I had a dream, and I haven't had dreams for quite a long time, actually, and it was Christmas Eve, and I was receiving presents, and they were going under the tree, and all the time, all I could think about was that I don't want these. It's just more stuff that I won't use. And looking back, I can see, how much I've changed. I almost hadn't noticed the changes, and sometimes it's because I feel it sneaks up on you, and until it's impossible to ignore. It's like, perhaps when you were a child, and you got taller, but you didn't notice until you stood up against the door or the wall that, with all of the previous marks on your milestones. And the same holds true, I think, for the life changes that we make. Sometimes, we don't realize that we're actually constantly changing. It's hard to notice until it pokes you. It pokes you in the ribs, so to speak, and it's dig, 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 And it's not even a question if you're changing, it's a question of which direction you're changing in. Interesting, right? So most people want change because they want to escape, yet that doesn't work. It's only by facing your inner demons that you heal yourself and change your life for the better. So that's my invitation to you. When I started doing this work, I was doing, I started to look, if you like, at my identity, who I was, how I saw myself. And I was doing a program with a friend of mine, and it was really, I found a fundamental breakthrough in some ways, I feel, that because when we think about our identity, it's a set of assumptions of who we are based on, experiences we've gone through, events, or combination of memories and feelings about those memories, all of these things. And we form that into I am statements. And I wanted to get radically honest about, with it about myself, because, it's things like, I'm smart, or I'm dumb, or I'm attractive, or I'm ugly, or I'm fat, or I'm skinny. I hear all of these words, and I used to say a lot of this to myself. And I used to say I'm creative, but I thought, I'm not creative. But actually, I am creative, yet rarely allow myself this indulgence. So that was something that I realized, and I turned that around, and now I actively spend time creating things and being creative. And I feel that it really is a beautiful gift that I've given myself to acknowledge that. So let's read through the worksheet. I hope that you've downloaded the worksheet. If you haven't, in the post above there'll be a link, and you'll be able to download it. And remember that in this post, you can post up your home play, if you like, for today. And those that are actively getting involved will go into the draw on day 4 for the first prize. So the worksheet is, I'll just read through it for you. It's a 2-page document. It's not very, very, big or in detail, but I'm hoping that gives you an insight into being purposeful, being intentional and full of my own design is what it is for me. And there's a space in there for you to write down the word that resonates with you. Perhaps purposeful is not your word. So use it to your own advantage, and make sure that the word you have for today resonates with you. I'm not sure if you've heard of The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell, yet one of the main things I took from this in my studies is that the reality is not here to enslave you. It's actually here, so, you know, unless you, but it's not here to enslave you, to trap you. But yet most of us, until we wake up, do that. We allow our reality to trap us, to enslave us, to keep us stuck. And I'd like you to consider that your reality can be more of a journey. It can be more of a journey of personal development, of empowerment, of finding yourself, awakening your heart, your intellect, your courage, if you like. Just like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. I'm sure you've all seen The Wizard of Oz, with the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the lion. Because after all, we as humans are all the same in essence, and yet only different in existence. When you awaken and realize you've always had the power within you, you'll find ways to communicate, and you'll see that life has always been trying to communicate with you to make that connection. Because many think that our intellect will bring us forward in life, yet our head and our brain doesn't feel. It does not feel. It's our heart. Our heart is the pathway to infinite wisdom. So as you know, as you journey on this hero's journey, if you like, whatever that hero is for you, you're going to meet your inner world, your sense of self through the outer world, the outer reflection. Because when you choose to take off the blinkers and see what's in front of you with purposeful intention, your self-directed purpose by your own design, if you take this path, even sometimes I used to think, you know, I look at this path, I think that's not the right one for me. It's, oh, can't go down there. But in my experience, you know, with clients and myself, it's often the right one for us. We have to have faith and follow the path. And I'm often asked, how am I so successful in what I do? And I think when I think about this question, it really depends on what you deem success is. So success for me is knowing. It's I know that the process of taking action. And yet herein lies the problem, is most people are not teachable. And this is a harsh reality. And it's the reason why in most seminar rooms, personal development courses, books, etc., that only 5% will take action, will become teachable and make a change. As you see, the brain always looks for the road to least resistance. And yet resistance is actually your best friend. So please, I encourage you all to listen here, or to lean in, to watch the replay. And if you're reading this workbook and you haven't watched today's video, please go and find the video and watch it. And keep pushing through your resistance, your challenges. Because you see, repetition lulls the brain to sleep. We go on to automatic pilot. You know, you might think, you arrived home, and how did I get here? That's what happens. It's repetition, repetition, repetition. Your brain goes off to sleep, and it just automatically happens in the background without you having any conscious awareness of it. Because practice makes perfect, I hear a lot of people saying, not, however, the reality is somewhat different. Practice doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. Let that sink in for a moment. Practice doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. So once again, I invite you to take care about what you practice. Be the master of your own growth. You need to master your challenges, and the quality of your challenges will determine the quality of your life. So I say, bring them on, baby. I want the big challenges. Put it out there, didn't I? So today's task, which I'd love you to post into the comments here in this live, is to ask yourself, and remember, it's not about comparing to someone else. This is about following your inner GPS and living the life that you are meant to live. You know what to do. You could feel it. You just haven't been listening to that inner voice until now, or you've been listening and ignoring. Now is the time to take action. And it's easy to give the decision to someone else, but it's your life. The sooner you realize that, the more fun you will have. So today's question is, what is one thing that you will do right now to bring purposeful into your life. And if you don't know, then start somewhere, because action will bring you clarity. Okay. And once you've written your little sentence or 2 sentences, whatever it happens to be, few words, post up here in the Facebook post for day 1, purposeful, hashtag a warrior is, and you'll go into the draw to win the prize that will be drawn live on day 4, which is Thursday. And I look forward to seeing your answers on the live later, and ask me any questions. If you're struggling with that, ask me a question and we'll certainly help you. And if not, I shall see you live again, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning with day 2 of hashtag a warrior is. Until then, remember, be your best friend, be your own best friend, do whatever it takes. Okay? Be purposeful. Bye for now.